Yeah. Yeah.
She's going to sit while I read, and I'm going to sing while she reads, and then we'll
All right. So, is that okay for this?
Is that okay?
Yeah. Allô tout le monde, bienvenue au 4e talent show du Centre du Rat. La première, le grand retour du talent show après la COVID. Welcome to the 4th edition of the talent show at the Centre du Rat. So we're just gonna start, on va juste commencer direct avec Jody Freeman et Morgana Morais. Elles vont nous lire de la poésie de Micheal Morais. Et puis, je les laisse monter sur scène.
Merci Alex. Bonjour tout le monde. Micheal il vivait à Montréal. C'est un artiste new-yorkais qui est venu, qui a déménagé à Montréal en 1976. Et Morgana est sa fille. Et on va lire de sa poésie en anglais. Oups, excusez. A good poem can grow hair on your chest. A good poem thinks on its feet. A good poem never stands still. A good poem can last a long time. A good poem can go on and on. A good poem can disappear in front of your eyes. A good poem goes to parties. A good poem stays home. A good poem can cook. A good poem knows how to hold its drinks. A good poem can even spout wings. A good poem is musical. A good poem can sing. A good poem can satisfy you. A good poem won't slam the door. A good poem always leaves them asking for more. A good poem looks easy. A good poem won't budge. A good poem is political. A good poem gets my vote. A good poem hits the right spot. A good poem knows when it's not. A good poem would be nice right about now. A good poem knows when it's time, when enough is enough. A good poem knows when it's time to go. Il faut dire que Micheal était un auteur dramatique aussi, puis assez dramatique quand il présentait ses poèmes spoken word. He was also an actor and playwright and liked a lot of drama and music and video and everything else when he was performing in New York and in Montreal. At times, I find it hard to say what I mean, to stay on the track all the time. A depression has settled upon me unknowingly. I am without power or courage to fight. Unable to leave the house, to get to the French text, doctor's appointment, to get a job. I make rituals, light candles and cigarettes, while I wrestle with words, pinning some to paper with a pen. Compelled to produce poetry to make up for the fact that I am alone and in pain and cannot leave the house, afraid of what may happen. Anything can once you go out. Unable to remember my childhood prayers, I call myself names instead. Micheal adorait voyager. Il a écrit ça quand il était en Israël-Palestine. Calculating the geometry of maps, the alchemy of transmutation, the miracle of transubstantiation, turning two-dimensional lines and dots on paper into three-dimensional roads, rivers, and towns by being there, populating them, adding substance and density, time and motion, being a verb, making things happen. The feeling of destiny and the knowledge that one's home is within. The sack on my back, the stuff in my pockets, the wind on my face, the land leaping to greet the soles of my feet. In the air, the light that sustains me, moving in many colors all about me, touching me, moving me, touching all things, moving, light. One more that has been translated into French and is going to appear in another publication, a Québécois publication. Love poem. Like sequined snow melts upon mountain peaks, I turn into water, a stream, a brook, the swiftest of rapids through dark forests over sharp and perilous terrain. Following gravity in a straight line, I race to greet you like a river that swells with the coming of the sun in springtime. Overflowing, a flood with excitement, breaking, fiercely surging over levees, bursting walls and moving earth, gushing over all, I rise to greet you like a wave deep from the sea that sleeps in me, breathing all your kisses, devouring what time there is. I crash upon your shore like all the waters and oceans this planet knows. Each molecule of me goes through change, transcends when touched by the sun. I rise to greet you like small particles of sand, swept thousands of miles by currents of desire that beat in waves upon sun-beached beaches, being at long last when the water subsides, allowed to remain like the ground that shakes and trembles, awakening with the earth's quaking, forced up by quick movements from the core. I rise to greet you like crystalline rock, borne through subterranean caverns and alleys by steaming streams of molten ore, straining to reach the surface, erupting and finally bursting through. I rise to greet you like a volcanic explosion, turning the hills to thunder, splitting granite, vomiting fire and lava, spewing forth coals and glowing embers, lighter than air. I rise to greet you like the smoke and gaseous flames that burn their way, soaring high and swirling right through the sky, fulfilling every law of nature. I rise to greet you. Morgana Morais.
Thank you. In another city, she walks the same streets. She knew as a kid too much already, too big for her age. Men made the most of her before she was 30, flipped out in the wig and the red high-heel boots. She still wears too much rouge on her face, says it's all she owns in wrinkled bags of clothing, stale food and memories, her cheap ring fingers grab. Sometimes in the middle of the street she speaks to thin air, stopping, a few people stare. She says, "Creeps, who are you to judge my only love affair?" In pain, then stops in the middle and weeps once again. If I could write good poetry, don't you think I would eat out in restaurants, order the best wines, become a famous author, celebrated for my wit, reach the heights of fashion, rub elbows with the rich, make $1 million living off my loyalties, always in the public eye? I'll become so famous, people will quote my life's philosophy. Drive expensive cars, only marry movie stars, and be seen in the best bars. Then I'll wake up, I'll take up wearing contact lenses and be so admired for my good looks that when Hollywood makes the movie of my life's story, they'll have to hire Robert Redford to play me in blackface. After a few beers, I got to thinking, did you ever wonder why the word poetry always begins with a P? The first time for me was a real epiphany. I was transformed in a flash, forgot where I was and what I was doing. Why it not only changed my thoughts about poetry, but my whole outlook and appearance as well. In fact, when I returned to the bar, everyone said that I looked very different and that my shoes were so shiny you could swear they were wet. He peed on himself, I think, at that point. Thank you.